My first creative work came out in the year 2020. I titled it Africa Wake Up. Yeah, watch it.
Africa in scramble. Tell me who's gonna configure it. Despite all its resources, majority in poverty. Compromise and greed jeopardizing its economy. Selfishness and hate the order of the society. Our students are more engaged in theoretical digestion. Convocation yearly, jobless accumulation. Way too many professors, but still no invention.
It was dope. It was dope. I got very lovely remarks from all of my friends and my family. It was good, and I could tell that it was genuine, and so that kind of, continued to fuel me and put me there in front. I didn't stop, and so I went forth to do another one, and I titled it, What If the Internet Crashes Forever?
So tell me, what if the internet crashes forever? What if? Ever since the internet came, a lot of things it changed. One of the things it first did was to isolate. Because in isolation, we become easy prey. Prey to influences that carry our minds away from ourselves, away from our surroundings, away from our friends, family, and through priorities.
I think What If the Internet Crashes Forever was inspired by a whole lot of things that I was seeing at that period in time. I would go out and I would see too many people just immersed in this whole social media thing, and people really engaged in face-to-face conversation. And what was funny was one time I was sitting around in a park, I think it was in school, and I had not State University, and I saw a boyfriend and a girlfriend sitting together, and they weren't actually communicating with themselves physically. They were actually talking to each other via WhatsApp, and I was like, really? And so I was like, no. Nothing like face-to-face conversation. And I saw people who argued over the phone rather than face-to-face, and I saw how it actually ruined a whole lot of things. I saw the effect of pornography in the society, and I saw a lot of other things. So what if the internet crashes forever was why I put it out, because, yeah, it was realistic, man. It was there. It was what I saw that was happening, and it was something I felt necessary to talk about. And then next, I didn't stop. I think I met my man Desire around that period. I think it was like 2021. I met my man Desire. We became very good friends. Shout out to you, Desire, man, my wonderful friend. He's that person we did sit and talk a lot of times, like my man TJ, and a lot of wonderful friends that I got. And he was inspired by my work, and he said, man, I gotta do something too. I'm a thespian. I gotta do something too. And so he came up with his work, and he titled it Life of a Broke Guy.
I have come to realize that no lady wants to be with a broke guy, even though our fathers and brothers are all broke. But I can't blame them. If I was a girl, I would do the same. Well, I hope they don't blame me too when I make money and decide to use them only as a sex tool.
Desire didn't stop there, but for now he paused. He's in school, and you know how final year is. So he's gonna be coming up with more, very much more than you can really imagine. He's still writing, and yeah, he got loads in his catalog. I can't wait for you, man, Desire, man, to come give the world what you got. And so I went ahead from there, and I put out the next one, and I titled it The Fear of Death.
Andrea Holiday asked a beautiful question. If death is truly the end, then what is there exactly to fear? To fear death, my friends, is only to think ourselves wise without being wise. For it is to think that we know what we do not know. For anything that men can tell, death may be the greatest good that can happen to them. But they fear it as if they knew quite well that it was the greatest of evils.
Yeah, The Fear of Death was dope, and it was about, this Socratic quote that talks about how we fear death as though death is the greatest of all human evils. But then, we may die someday and realize that it is the greatest of human blessings. And so, that particular quote inspired me, and I put something together and I put it out. I didn't stop there, Then I put out Dear African Movie Makers.
Dear African movie makers, I am tired. I am tired of the same storyline that is being recycled over and over again. I am tired of seeing romantic movies with fantastic ideals that are totally disconnected from our realities. Movies that sell our kids the money-centric mentality. movies that de-emphasize virtue while promoting immorality. Many youths died in Lekki massacre in 2020, and we are yet to see a single movie about a struggle that stressed our common identity. Of all the efforts of Kwame Nkrumah, it hasn't occurred to any African movie director to give us a movie that captures the selfless and genuine love that man had for this continent. No movie on the life of Miriam Makeba. No movie on the life of Dedan Kimati. No movie on Mohamed Bouazizi, on Gamil Abdel Nasser, on Fatima Al-Fihiri, on Samora Machel, on Mangaliso Sobukwe, on Olaudah Equiano, on Fela Anikulapo Kuti.
Yeah, dear African movie makers. You know, I look at African movies as kind of, they're very similar. Yeah, African movies just repetitive, similar, uninspiring. It's very rare you watch a particular African movie and you kind of feel it and then it inspires you to do something bigger. You know, it's all about love stories, rich and a poor kid, getting together some ways and type. You know what I'm talking about. And so I just got sick of it, and I just, after studying history, I looked at it and I'm like, but there are loads of African stories, lots of untold African stories that we haven't seen in the cinema yet. And I was just like, I wish African movie directors could dig back into the past, and bring out these stories, and showcase it to the world. I think I was most pained when I looked at most of some African stories, pivotal events that happened in Africa, and I looked up the internet to see if there had been movies on this particular stuff, only to find out that, yeah, there were movies on it, but the movies were actually shot by foreigners. Man, I was appalled, man. No, I didn't feel good about it. And so I wish that Africans could actually, prioritize their own stories and, push it and tell it to the world, their own way, more originally and more authentically. So I didn't stop there, and then I went ahead to talk about the urgent need for African history.
As Marcus Garvey put it, a people without the knowledge of their past history, origin and culture is like a tree without its roots. He further stated that intelligence rules the world, while ignorance carries the burden. If I may ask Africans today, is ignorance of our past not the reason why we suffer? White folks know more black history than we do. African history is so beautiful. Our culture is so rich. Sadly, we know very little of our own history. We are so ignorant of our past. How then can we know where we are going when we do not know where we came from?
Yeah, I love African history very much. I don't know. There's a lot in African history. I wish that we could really talk about it. I want us to talk about it. I want to see it out there. I just cannot wait. So I'm just putting all of the effort. I'm trying to awake people to see they need to talk about African history, because African history is really an amazing thing.